All right. We are recording the interview of Leonard Keith. This interview is being conducted by David Morse from the Wright State University Veteran Voices Project. This interview is being recorded at Wright State University's Veteran Military Center in Dayton, Ohio. It is 9:08 a.m. on the 30th of August, 2016. All right, Mr. Leonard.
Mr. Keith.
Mr. Keith. Mr. Keith. Yes, sir. Let's start off with just tell me when and where you were born.
I was born Oak Hill, West Virginia, Fayette County, close to New River Gorge.
Okay.
December 24th, 1946.
And who are your parents?
My daddy was Sidney Leonard Keith. He was a coal miner. My mother was Ruth Mae Keith. She was a housewife.
Okay. Did you have any siblings?
I had two younger brothers. I had a youngest sister, but she died at birth. So.
Did any of your siblings serve?
My brother next to me was in the Navy 4 years. He was the oilerman on the Bonhomme Richard aircraft carrier. He went to Vietnam 3 times, I think.
Wow.
He was going over when I was coming back on a plane.
It's interesting.
I tried to tell him he didn't have to go. I was there, but he went anyway.
How did you feel about that?
Well, he was in the Navy. You know, he'd sit out there and float around, eat ice cream. Well, he did have to go in one time, pick up some wounded on a little boat. He was an engineer, so they had him run the motor. Mm-hmm. So he stuck his head up one time, heard pinging. They told him to get back down and run the boat. So, yeah.
That's great. So what branch did you end up enlisting?
I was in Army.
Army, yes. And you enlisted, or were you drafted?
I was regular Army, 3 years.
Okay.
Enlisted.
Wow. What made you decide to enlist into the Army?
Like I said, my daddy was a coal miner. He drank real bad. He was a World War II veteran. He came home drunk one too many times, wanted to fight. I accidentally knocked him down. He told me to get out. I was in school the next day. 2 guys behind me talked about joining armies. I turned around and said, "Hey, I'll go with you." So,
Wow.
one of them dropped out. Daddy made him stay on. I mean, another guy went.
Yeah. What year was this that you joined?
It was February 15th, 1965.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Where was your boot camp at?
Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
What was that like?
It was rough. It really was. But it was in the winter. We was in a World War II barracks. It was supposed to have been just temporary, and they were still using them. You could see cracks in the wall. It's daylight go through them. We had to spit shine the floors.
Wow.
Half of us ended up in a hospital. They had it was winter. I thought it'd be warm in South Carolina. I froze to death. It was cold. I ended up in the hospital 3 days. About had pneumonia. I begged them to let me out. They stayed. You missed more than 3 days, they recycled you. I couldn't stand no more of that. Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of your instructors?
Oh yeah, I still remember my DI, Sergeant Savage.
Savage.
Yeah.
Nice. You have any particular stories about Sergeant Savage?
Oh yeah, he about halfway through, he was married and had a little boy. He was a drunk too. He was a Korea War veteran, I think, combat veteran. His wife took a kid and ran over the salesman, we heard. He came in and stayed in his room all one weekend, drinking, throwing stuff around. He came out Monday morning, it was, he was hard to live with. He gave us PT one time, they wouldn't let him do it no more. But had guys crying and everything.
That's funny.
Yeah, I looked for him. I never did see him again.
So, basic training, or not basic, I'm sorry, boot camp. Where did you go then from boot camp? What was your next stop?
At Fort Knox, Kentucky was the next stop for food service training. So,
Okay.
I was there 8 weeks. Then me and another guy got orders for Thailand. I'd never heard of it. Vietnam was picking up then in '65. So I went down to the post library, got a world atlas out. Looked over by Vietnam, finally there it was. So me and him had to go up and get civilian passports. I thought everybody got civilian passports and went overseas. But, yeah.
Now, when you went into the Army, your job was what?
I was a cook, food service, anything to do with it. I got to Vietnam, they needed, all the old timers wanted to stay inside the base, so I became a driver. I went all over. So I'll pick up supplies, transport people everywhere, about every day, night.
Okay. So what time did you, how long was your boot camp?
We were there 11 weeks, really. 2 weeks getting signed in, and they took us to the boot basic training area, and we stayed there another week before they started the cycle. So I was at Fort Jackson for 11 weeks.
And then, well, you said, what was your training after that again? It was the food service.
Yeah, I learned how to cook, basically butchering, anything.
And how long was that?
It was 8 weeks.
8 weeks. Okay.
We went out on summer. West Point cadets were down there for summer school, I guess. They were down all over on tank firing range. We'd go out there. And, it was interesting.
Yeah. And then, what was your first duty station? Thailand, right. And then, what time did you, what was the date that you went to Thailand?
What was it, June or July of '65. They said me and another guy had orders. So they gave us plane tickets and a bus ticket to Oakland Army Terminal in Oakland, California.
Mm-hmm.
So we met. That's the first time I was ever on a plane.
Wow.
We got there in time, and we stayed there about a week before they. Every morning they had a roll call. You had a post with a letter, and you had numbered off each post. They call out letters and numbers for people leaving. I was there about a week, one KP and guard. And morning they needed people to give blood. I said, I get out of detail, I give a pint. I finally got a pint out of my skinny little arm. In the evening, roll call, they called my name, me and about 50 other guys supposed to form up at midnight and ship out in the airport. Or air, I don't know if it was air base. We got on a C-130 noon the next day after we stayed there at the airport for 12 hours. I was still a pint low on blood, so.
Wow.
Yeah, we got on a C-130, didn't have any seats in it, cargo nets rigged. Set elbow to elbow. Went from there to Hawaii, stayed there a little bit. Flew all night to Wake Island, stopped there at 8. They fixed us little box lunches to eat on the plane to the next island, which was Guam. And went to Japan and landed at Bangkok about midnight. I think it was the third night.
So was this pretty soon after you got to Thailand? I'm trying to get a timeline here. You were in Thailand for how long before they then shipped you on out to Japan?
No, that was coming over to Thailand on the C-130.
Oh, okay.
4-engine cargo plane. That's how we island hopped.
That's how you got it.
And then we
I
landed in
got you.
Bangkok.
Okay, so.
And we stayed a night, and they put us on a bus and went up to Karak. It was about 300 clicks north.
Okay.
We, next to the F-4 Phantom Air Base, we're protecting, I guess.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. So while you're in Thailand, or while you're in the military in general, how did you stay in contact with your family?
Just mail, writing.
Just writing.
Yeah. I did try to call. I was at a signal outfit. I was in the 55th Signal Company, 379th Battalion there at Karak. I tried to call home. One time they had some kind of deal they set up. I don't think it didn't go through. Some guys did. Got to talk back home.
Okay.
He has all the letters.
Now, were you a cook the entire time in Thailand?
Yeah, in Thailand, but about once a month. That was, like I said, I was in Signal. They sent 2 convoys out different directions, drive all day on dirt roads and stop, set up an area or string concertina wire, set up a generator, set up signal circle. We stay out there for 2 to 3 days to a week. I did that 2 or 3 times.
Did the Army supply you and your fellow troops? Did you guys have, I guess, how do I put this, the adequate food? I mean, customary food, or did you guys use a lot of the natural
No, we weren't
food that
allowed
was
to
there?
use natural. All our stuff was shipped in because they used human excrement for fertilizer. Thailand, about all of Southeast Asia. So we had powdered milk, and frozen meat, vegetables, whatever, canned vegetables.
Yeah.
And we had fresh eggs most of the time. From we get powdered eggs, mix up stuff. We had to sift all the flour to get the bigger bugs out of it. They didn't want too much meat in their diet. That's the truth.
Oh, I understand. What did you do for recreation in Thailand?
I read every book they had in a little library. I wasn't 18. I was a pretty good kid then.
That's good.
Ran out of reading materials. I started drinking, chasing women downtown, which weren't hard to catch. Yeah.
Okay, so spent some time in Thailand. What happened then?
I got ordered for back to the States. I had 45-day leave, accumulated leave, so I ran out of money when I reported in early to Pittsburgh, Oakdale, Pennsylvania, Nike missile defense site. And I looked around the first day, I didn't like it. Half the guys had signed up for 4 years so they could stay close to their mommies in the area. And had an MP, second lieutenant, CO. And after about 3 months, the old CO left. And so I put in 1049 to anywhere overseas. They turned it down. I got the company clerk to fill out, double check the next one, make sure it was right. I had to wait 6 months. I got orders for Vietnam. And I said, good. I'm getting out of here.
You said good?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Wow, you must have really not liked that, yeah.
Being, stateside duty didn't get along real well. It was too Mickey Mouse, really.
Oh, wow.
I thought.
Yeah.
I learned different.
So, you went to Vietnam at this point.
Right.
What year was this?
67, about March of 1967. Well, they sent me to Fort Dix, New Jersey for warfare, jungle warfare training, February. There wasn't no jungle in Fort Dix, New Jersey. We went through the motions and I came back and shipped out.
So you get to Vietnam. Tell me a little bit about Vietnam. What was the country like? What was your first impressions of Vietnam?
Well, I landed at Cam Ranh Bay. I flew civilian Northwest Orient, had regular stewardesses. They landed on Japan. I think they changed over to Oriental stewardesses, and we landed at Cam Ranh Bay, which was a resort really, but Viet Cong used it as a resort too. I was there about a week, 22nd replacement, and the choppers land, they blow, it's like a desert, you know, they blow sand everywhere. It wasn't quite a week, then I got orders to go to Tan Son Nhut. My unit was a 519th Military Intelligence Battalion, but Ja Dien Ben Loy, which I didn't know where. I landed at Tan Son Nhut and, on a C-123 2-engine prop. And I was standing there in my khakis and bag, and I saw two little boys there looking, watching me. I was watching out the corner of my eye, and they said, "Hey, GI." One of them acted like he's pulling a pin on a grenade and threw it at me. So, they just screwing around, it wasn't. They took off running that. I couldn't find my outfit. Nobody knew where it was. And I was on the phone most of the day, and I finally I was on a bus to, went to the Red Cross downtown Saigon, I think. And I noticed all the buses had chicken wire on the windows, keeping grenades from coming in the window. Yeah, it was a little different. Right, armed guards all over corners and stuff. I finally found my outfit, and they sent a guy to pick me up. He was out on the edge of Saigon, the north part, between two bridges going north to Long Binh and Bien Hoa.
So did you, at this point, did your occupation change?
Yeah, well, I started out in the mess hall, but had a lot of old timers, lifers, we call them. They wanted extra pay. A lot of them signed up for Vietnam, get the extra money for their families or whatever. And the guys, well, there was, when I first got there was 3 guys out of the mess hall were rotating home. I guess I replaced them, but they got drunk. Said they wanted to see some action before they left. They strapped on 45s. I think one of them, I had an M14, got a deuce and a half and took off. And they came to a roadblock the Arvins had, and Arvin told them not to go down there. Charlie, BC down there. They said, "Good, we want we want BC." They mutilated our colonel. Had really nice photo equipment. He had close-ups. He made all of us look at him. Anybody come in country had to look at him. Said, "You go look for trouble in this place. This is what's happened to you." And they brought the truck back through, all bullets all the way through in one side and out the other. They gutted them, cut the tops of their heads off. Emasculated them.
Oh, definitely found trouble.
Yeah.
Oh,
So they didn't, they went home and bought him bag.
yeah,
They got Purple Heart though, I guess.
yeah. Did you see any conflicts while you were there?
Nah, not really. We had to deal with the Special Forces. They had a transfer compound. They had Mountain Guard guards, tiger suits and grease guns. And, they weren't allowed to draw rations. And they had to deal with the butt sergeant at the supply depot. He issued the meat and stuff. So all he drank was Seagram's Crown Oil. And they had a building full of cases of booze. So I go get our stuff once or twice a week. See what he had extra, and I'd drop our stuff off, stop, get a bottle of booze for him, and pick up what he had extra and give it to the Special Forces. They had a club, bar, air conditioning. He had about 3 or 4 stories. People coming in country and leaving, stay there, temporarily. Yeah, it's a pretty good setup. I couldn't buy nothing in there. all the movie stars come in, and at the USO shows, they were heroes. They went to see them. I did see Martha Ray. She came over with a Hello Dolly show. I took a truckload of guys over to Thompson in the hangar. Then the next morning I went to the Special Forces camp, and she was in there. She'd been there all night playing poker and drinking gin. He lost $500, and she wouldn't let him give it back to her. She was they made her honorary colonel. She buried her at Fort Bragg. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was one thing I remember.
During Vietnam, did you make any good friendships out there? Connect with anybody specific out there?
I had one guy in Pennsylvania. He was my shotgun rider. We weren't allowed to drive without an armed guard with us. M14. I carried it at 45. He's a pretty good guy. He's from Sunnydale, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. I tried to keep in touch with him for a while when I got out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was still there when I finally left.
So tell me, how long were you in Vietnam?
Over 11 months.
Over 11 months.
Yeah.
And then where did you come back to?
Well, I was getting out of the Army and out of Vietnam both. And I was processing out, and they pulled a 68 head of fence, and I got surrounded for another week and a half. I finally got to the Long Binh Air Base, and flew back to Oakland and processed out there 12 hours. And,
During that Tet Offensive, you said it delayed you for about a week.
week and a half.
A week and a half.
Yeah.
Was there any immediate danger to the area that you were at?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it was. They had word it was 2 battalions come in Saigon before they were trying to get out. We were in between the 2 bridges going across the river, getting out of Saigon. And they said it was 2 battalions trying to get in and relieve them. And the first day, I cleared everything but finance and orderly room. Finance section over at Cho An, the other side of Saigon. They told me to come back the next day. They'd pay me. I could get out there, go home. They pulled a Tet Offensive that night. And they was always having red alert practices. They blew the siren or whatever, and I said, heck with it, I'm too short, so I opened my locker door, then the foot locker in the corner, and I had the door open, and I crawled, set up on my locker, and went back to sleep. And it was right, sandbag wall right outside the wall. It had slotted boards for ventilation with wire, you know. I had two guys on guard. They said, man, they done took the embassy. It was just up the road a couple of miles. The sappers came in. If I'd been driving, I'd have been going by there when they hit the embassy.
Wow.
But we were restricted, you know, there's a lot of activity going on.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I had a little episode about 2 or 3 days before. I was, like I said, I was short. I was in there drinking in the bar. And I was tired of hearing all the stories. So I said, I'd go down a little bar down the road. On the other side was the bridge. There was a 525th in my little bar there. Past that. I went down there, talked to the girl, drank a beer or two. And it got dark. I mean, one girl went outside. It's off to the side there by the corner of the chair. She was sitting on my lap, and I was drinking a beer. And he has a wall in front of the door. He had to go around it and get into the door, into the bar. And there was something out in the road. You know, it was dark. I looked, there was a line of guys lined up facing the beer joint. They all had weapons. They weren't in uniform. They was all different. And one left, and I had a pistol, went around the other side of the wall, went in, and people screaming, hollering, glass breaking. You know? And he came out, and a girl told me, I don't say nothing. You know? But, he came out, and I looked. She went inside, and I looked, and they were gone. So I went inside. No, there wasn't nobody in there. It was all tore up. Everybody went out, left.
Wow.
So I went out. Felt like somebody was watching me the whole time. I walked back up the road, you know. I didn't tell nobody, because I wasn't supposed to have been there, no way. But that was this Viet Cong coming in.
Wow.
Might have been the one that hit the embassy.
Let me see.
Yeah, they caught me and that girl, man. It had been really bad. They like to skin people out.
Mm-hmm.
They catch you with their women.
Wow.
But I avoided that for some reason.
Thank God you did.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me about your trip home. What was it like coming home after the Tet Offensive and all of that?
Yeah,
Finally get to come home.
Well, I met 3 other guys that was get rotating back, and I didn't know them. They were another company. And talking to one, he showed me a picture of a little baby been born while he was there. And one of them said they had to go to Cholon, process out finance too before we could leave. So I had my flak jacket, weapon, and everything. I was waiting up by the main gate for them, where the guy was in a Jeep. And my first sergeant and my platoon sergeant rolled up in the Jeep. They were going to go check on their girlfriends downtown. They said, you can ride shotgun in the back. So I said, okay. So I told the guard, tell those other guys I got another way, you know. So they dropped me off. I got processed. They was a machine gun, everything over there. It was still guards walking around. They were still fighting Cholon at the cemetery, he said. So I did my job, and did my business, and left. I heard they left. They came, got there after I did. And, they never made it back, so they got hit coming back. So instead of 4 of us, I was the only one waiting for a ride to Long Bend the next day. Stayed there the night, and he got mortared that night. I didn't even roll over. I had to put it. They gonna get me. They gonna. But they formed us up next morning and marched us out. We was under a roof, picnic tables, you know, stay out of the sun and rain. And well, the day before I was sitting there by myself, and there was about a company of new guys across the little field in another area was covered. They all had dark green uniform. They had, you know, they were fresh meat. I sat there and smoked a cigarette and looked at them. They were coming in, I was leaving. But they finally formed up, marched us out to the plane. And a nice blonde stewardesses at the bottom, top. And everybody broke ranks and took off running for the plane. And got on it. And Powell said, hey, he banked to the left. And he said, one last look at the Saigon area. And nobody said a word. And we flew home. By jet, it was about 12 hours, I think it was. We were at that point with the time change and all that. But I got there about daylight. There at Oakland again, Army terminal processed out. And I finally got processed out about midnight, I think it was. And me and a couple other guys were flying back to the East Coast. And we got on a plane, got drunk. I was sitting next to a nice old black lady. And they was gonna give us 2 drinks apiece. I think it was 5 of us. We talked them into stewards and giving us 2 rounds apiece. I woke up on the plane, everybody done got off and left me laying there in Chicago, cold February, you know. And I staggered off of it and got a plane to Charleston, West Virginia. And I was sick. I got a hotel and got a call and told them I was there. I thought they'd come in there. They came, knocked on the door. My poor old grandma and my mom, my youngest brother, scared me to death driving back on that road. Yeah.
Did things change quite a bit once you got home?
Yeah. I found out nobody wanted to hear about it. Quit. So I had about $1,700 accumulated pay. And I went and checked in on unemployment. I intended to go to school, and I got to go to college when I got out. I couldn't stand being in a classroom. So I started drinking, shooting pool, losing money. They said I couldn't draw unemployment for 30 days, I think, because of accumulated leave or whatever. So I drank everything for about 3 weeks, about to run out of money, so I went looking for a job. You know, the coal mines weren't hiring.
Yeah.
Couldn't get a job. I ended up Lewisburg, West Virginia. I was there a couple of months. I came back. I didn't like it. My youngest brother took welding at school. He was graduating. They got Mooreville, Ohio. Go down there and pick them up, welders, and bring them back, put them to work. And he said, hey, come on out, I'll put you to work. So I got a job as a machine operator for 18 months, and I went to Babcock and Wilcox's. We worked at a lot of nuclear work. There was about 4,000 people working there. I got a job there, stayed 27 years.
Good.
I went from from a helper to the highest level 15, fabricator, fitter. I took all the classes.
Very good.
All the schooling I could. Yeah. And went back to college for went to college for 1 semester, like I intended to do.
That's good. Yeah, I can understand the college thing. If it wasn't for the economy, I would not be in college.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, I like it. I'm glad I am in college. But
Oh, you were in the military.
I was military, yes. Yeah, I was Air Force, and then, of course, tried to get out, tried to do the whole working thing, and that didn't work. So here I am in college, trying to make a living.
You're doing the right thing, you know.
Yeah.
You can't get, any learning you get is to your benefit.
Sure. Yep. Speaking of which, have you stayed in contact with any other military members, service members that you knew?
That I served with.
Mm-hmm.
Just that one guy who was my shotgun rider, Fred
Okay.
Scheides, Oakdale, Pennsylvania. But I finally lost contact with him.
Are you a part of any veteran organizations?
Yeah, my daddy, he's a World War II veteran, Europe, 5th Armored Division. He got me a light membership, VFW. He belonged, and he got my brothers in the Navy a light membership. Then I joined the Sons of Confederate Veterans and became a light member, and they had a motorcycle group associated with it. Mechanized, Sons of Confederate Veterans, Mechanized Cavalry. Oh, yeah. But I ride a bike. Kept me going.
Yeah, that's good.
Years.
That's real good. So, your time in the military, what kind of perspective did that give you on today's military and wartime today?
To tell you the truth, from what I saw in Vietnam, I didn't think we'd ever get back in a mess like that. But the people, the first Iraqi war, George was a president. He didn't let him go too far, but they stopped it short in Iraq and that. But, and his son, who was in the Air Force, but he said he signed papers saying he wouldn't have to go to combat or something. And Cheney got deferments. They had no idea what it was like. They kept all this going. I didn't think we'd ever make the same mistake again. But there we are.
How has your military service helped you get through life?
Yeah, I had a strong desire for education. I kept that up. But I didn't use the GI benefits still for one time. Yeah, I kept taking classes and that at work. I took 4 or 5. Welding, fitting. I worked my way up to the highest level, BNW. What was it? The rest of it?
Just, I guess, what was your takeaway from the military life? What was your biggest takeaway that you were able to apply to your life?
Just try and get education, try to work, always work. I worked there when everybody else was laying around just to keep from thinking too much, you know.
Sure.
I took all the classes there I could, and they didn't have any to them. So we weren't there in Thailand until a couple of years after I left. But, they denied having any American troops whatsoever in Thailand right after I got there. They never admitted it until a year or 2 after I left. But, yeah, I always try to keep learning all I could and keep occupied.
All right. Closing up, just one final question for you, Mr. Keith. For future generations, this is going to the Library of Congress and everything else.
Really?
What would be your message for those that view this, the future generations coming up?
From what I saw, you know, if anybody invaded this country, I'd say, you know, fight would be a reason. But it's just any other reason, just getting a lot of people killed, maimed, screwed up for life. So I thought I got out of Vietnam scot-free, and now I found out about Agent Orange. I wonder why there wasn't any bushes or anything growing around the perimeter, you know, across from us. And, but I developed heart trouble. I had 5 bypass heart surgery in 1994. And I had diabetes, but I never took, I've stayed off medication after that. But when I found out it was caused by Agent Orange, they finally denied my benefits for heart disease. I had 5 bypass heart surgery in 1994. And I wasn't bad or nothing. And I worked another couple of years. I had to quit. 27 years at Babcock and Wilcox. I worked my way to the top, the highest level. And they didn't want me there with heart disease and made it hard on me. Well, they got rid of me once, and I went to the Civil Rights Commission, and they ruled in my favor. I went back, but the union and the company hated my guts. They tried to make it rough. I stuck it out another couple of years. I finally retired with 27 years service. But, yeah, then I applied for Agent Orange for heart disease, which was on the list. And they said you had to apply for it within 1 year of being discharged. But I wasn't sick then. I never developed heart disease till 94.
Right.
I got out in 68. So they said, I ain't no use to appealing it, you know, that's the way it is. So then 15 years later, they added ischemic heart disease and another couple of cancers to the list, and they had ischemic heart disease listed on one of my medical records. So I reapplied, and they denied it again. But they said in the letter, said, why didn't you file an appeal in 1994, I think. No. I forget. Yeah, I applied in 96 after I retired. I had to finally get a medical retirement by my employer, Social Security, disability, and retirement. But I applied 96, I think. They turned me down. They said, why didn't you file an appeal? I said, well, they told me I couldn't get it. So they screwed me around another couple of years, and they finally did give me 30% disability for my heart disease and 10% for diabetes. So I filed a claim, you know, appeal and all that. I learned to appeal my claim. But they turned me down so far. I just got 40%, but I got 15 years back paid for the 30% for my heart.
Good.
But that gives me a reason to stay alive, try and get the other 60%. Really. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add to this interview before we close it up?
Nah, I can't really. I don't know if I read anything. rode in there and try to avoid the military if possible. If you do that, go in, do your job to the best of your ability and your duty. Take advantage of all education programs. If you're lucky, you'll survive. And hope God looks after you. And stay away from drugs.
Yes.
That's the main thing. Yeah, that was the beginning of the drug culture, which is, they got heroin epidemic now if they didn't have the antidote for it now. Up there where we live, hundreds of people having overdoses. Last 6 months, I think, Akron.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, and saving most of them with the antidote. If they didn't have that, they'd probably all be dead. Yeah, Vietnam, basically, I think, the beginning of the culture. It didn't really get bad when I was leaving. I knew one guy, I met one guy downtown Saigon. He was in the Army and stayed there as a civilian. He's showing us track marks where he's shooting heroin. But he's the only one I knew that was like that. 67, 68. Everybody smoked pot. The Army gave you pills. He got hurt, burned or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Keith, I first want to thank you for your service, and thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, I thought it might help Andrew on his classes, man. I thought.
Yeah, absolutely.